Welcome to Nice and Blunt. This is Week 14 Fantasy Football Rankings. Thank you for joining me. My name is Adam Riancho, and this is my channel, Nice and Blunt. We're talking running backs in this video, and it's Week 14, and that means it's the first week of the fantasy playoffs, a must-win week. You either win or you go home. So this matters a bit more than normal, and I hope to help you out with any start-sit questions. If you have a question and you want to get my opinion on it, you can hit my Instagram page. I'm at Nice and Blunt. That's one word. And if you like this video, please hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell button if you want to be notified, and my videos will come to you. So with that being said, thanks for being here. Let's jump right in. So running backs. At the top two, we've got Derrick Henry and Christian McCaffrey, the two elite options this week. Normally, Christian McCaffrey would come in at number one, but given he's coming off a shoulder injury, he's missed a lot of time this year, and the team isn't necessarily fighting for a playoff spot, I expect maybe a little bit diminished workload for him. That's why I have him at number two. He's still awesome. If you got him and you made it to the playoffs without him, start him. He's going to be a great guy, fantasy option this week. Moving on. Aaron Jones comes in at number three. I've been a little bit low on Aaron Jones, a little bit worried, but the playoffs are here and his schedule looks great. He starts week 14 with a matchup at Detroit. They are one of the worst defenses when it comes to allowing fantasy points to running backs. I think Aaron Jones is going to have a great game. He busted off a 77-yard touchdown to finish week 13. And I hope that we can expect that going forward. He finished last season, with 3 100-yard rushing games in December. He already has one last week, so I think he can probably get another one this week. I love Aaron Jones this week. Then there's still elite options, but they have terrible matchups, or at least difficult matchups this week. Number 4 and 5 is Alvin Kamara at Philadelphia and Dalvin Cook at Tampa Bay. Can't imagine you're benching them, but you probably saw the schedule before the playoffs started and saw that they had tough matchups. And given how Drew Brees isn't back yet, Alvin Kamara is still a little bit. I still feel a little bit hesitant there, but obviously they're great options. And if you have them, they're the reasons why you got to the playoffs, and you stick with them. Number 6, James Robinson. He's also a guy that might have saved your season, getting him off the wire. His volume's just amazing. He's going up against Tennessee. They struggle to stop opposing offenses, even though Jacksonville isn't necessarily scary. I have him at number 6. Nick Chubb versus Baltimore. A bad matchup, but last year he had an amazing game against Baltimore early in the season when they beat them. It was, I think, the last time that Baltimore lost a game until their playoff loss to the Titans. So Nick Chubb can always break off a massive play. He has the most big plays in the league. He seems a lock for almost 100 yards, if not just running the ball, but at least from scrimmage. He had 106 last week. And I think he's clearly taken over a lot of work that used to go to Kareem Hunt, at least early in the season. He's the guy they feed in the second half, and I have a feeling that Cleveland is gonna beat Baltimore and maybe kick them out of the playoffs. Basically, I feel like the Browns are might be slept on this week as great fantasy options because they got completely shut out week 1, and since then they've gone 9-2. So they're a great team. And Baltimore is a bit reeling lately. I have a feeling they're not going to really have an answer for Nick Chubb. Number 8 is Austin Eckler. I want to put him higher, but Atlanta is surprisingly an elite rush defense. I think they just give up so much points and yards through the air that teams don't really run against them as much. He'll get his passes for sure. I can't take him out of the top 10, but after last week, you're a little bit concerned. I have a feeling that the Chargers are going to get shut out. Maybe not score 0 points again this week, but I don't think they're going to really win this game or come close. I have a feeling this is probably Anthony Lynn's last game as the Chargers head coach, and I'm worried a little bit about this Chargers offense until he's fired. I think once he's gone, they'll kind of open things up, and it'll be better. But this week, you obviously trust Austin Eckler, but I'm a little bit worried. Next up, David Montgomery. He has an amazing matchup against Houston, who's giving up a record in terms of rushing yards this season. But it's still David Montgomery. I can't put him too high, but he does crack the top 10. That's pretty rare for me. He was actually just dropped in the league I play in, and I'm sure that the owner who dropped him is very upset about it because he's been going off the last 2 weeks and has a great matchup this week against Houston. Then I got Josh Jacobs. It's more of just a respect type of ranking. It's a bad matchup. He had a bad game last week, or maybe the week before. I'm forgetting exactly when. But Josh Jacobs is low-key a top 6 running back this season. So a great floor, and I can't take him out of the top 10. Number 11, a guy I'm really high on. His volume is great. His efficiency is great. Even though he's not a very fast running back, it's Wayne Gallman at versus. He's at home against Arizona. Last week, he popped off 135 yards against Seattle. This team's game plan is to run the ball and just keep running the ball because that's kind of their best shot at winning, especially if Daniel Jones isn't starting this game. Last week, Wayne Gallman had his touchdown streak snapped, but I think the only reason that happened is because he was coming off the field after massive plays of 50, 60-yard runs. So I think it was just a mere luck of the draw for Alfred Morris to get those 2 touchdowns, but they could have easily gone to Wayne Gallman if they were on the goal line in the red zone, and Wayne Gallman wasn't the reason why they got there after a big play, because if a running back rips off a 25, 40-yard rush, they're going to be kind of tired, and odds are they're going to come off the field just to get a breather. So I think Wayne Gallman probably gets his way back into the end zone this week. I think that's what they want to do, at least. Next up, DeAndre Swift. Great matchup. I hope the concussion doesn't look like himself talk that we've heard about him since his illness and the games that he's missed isn't too severe. I might be optimistic about him, but it's a great matchup against Green Bay, and before he got hurt, he looked to be the bell cow in that offense. So I feel fairly high on DeAndre Swift. Next, I got Raheem Mostert, who can always pop off in a massive play, an 80-yard score. He has that type of speed, but it's against Washington, who's a very good defense, and I'm hesitant to put him in the top 10. He is still coming off IR just last week or 2 weeks ago, and I don't think they want to risk him hurting himself again. So at least in the first half, they might limit his touches just to see where he's at before they, make him the bell cow on all 3 downs. But he still gets a lot of work. It's just a bad matchup. Next up, Chris Carson versus the Jets. I want to put him higher. It's a excellent matchup against the Jets, but I feel like since he's been a bit hurt and shook up, they split the workload with Carlos Hyde a little bit more just to give him some more rest throughout the game. It's an excellent matchup. He could easily score 2 touchdowns and jump into the top 5 even. He has that type of upside, but it's possible that his touches are limited, and that's why I only have him at 14. Next up, Myles Gaskin versus Kansas City. Great matchup. He is the guy that they want to carry the ball on this team, and I just trust him. I like the situation, and they're going to try and win the time of possession against Kansas City, limit Patrick Mahomes being on the field, and the way to do that is to run the clock with Myles Gaskin. So they should be able to, and I like him a lot at 15. Then I got J.D. McKissic, and it's purely for the PPR numbers. If Antonio Gibson remains out with a foot injury, then they will probably run that route to McKissic a lot, like they did against Pittsburgh. and get him on the edge and keep moving the chains. So McKissic is a great floor play if Antonio Gibson is out, and he comes in at 16. If Antonio Gibson does play, then he'll rank closer to the top 10, and McKissic will slide down to a flex option. But if so far that doesn't really seem that likely, so I like J.D. McKissic as a running back 2. Next, we'll just wrap it up with a few names that stand out. Jonathan Taylor, Ezekiel Elliott, Todd Gurley, Kenyon Drake round out the top 20. Not guys I'm too excited on, but a couple of them have good matchups and they get the volume to remain relevant. Outside the top 20, I have Kareem Hunt versus Baltimore. I am not really excited about how his touches have been trending since Nick Chubb came back. I think he's a bit overrated. To be honest with you, he's great, but if it wasn't for Nick Chubb, his stats wouldn't look as good. Baltimore is a good defense, and I wouldn't be surprised if the Browns want to lean on their best player, which is on offense, which is clearly Nick Chubb. So I'm a little bit down on Kareem Hunt. His touches have been below 15 kind of consistently lately. And next up after him, Ronald Jones, just, so unreliable. Then Clyde Edwards-Helaire at Miami. Again, so unreliable, but both have good upside and decent matchups. I just don't trust them. I just don't. David Johnson at Chicago, bad matchup. Cam Akers, a bit of a surprise. If he has that job to himself, then he's a great option. But it's still a Rams running back, so not something you want to trust. I'm a little bit excited. We'll see where he ranks next week, though. Then I got James Conner. This team sucks at running the ball. It's just a matter of fact. Miles Sanders versus New Orleans at 28. New Orleans is going to shut this team down. They're amazing at defending the run, and it doesn't seem like Philly really understands how to use Miles Sanders this season. He needs to get some passes out in the open field because he's great in space, but they're just not throwing him the ball. Maybe Jalen Hurts can change some things around, but when they add Jordan Howard, who got cut by the Dolphins, it doesn't give you any confidence in Miles Sanders. I feel like Miles Sanders is a must bench this week. And then to round out the top 30, Gio Bernard, Melvin Gordon. So those are the top 30. If you'd like to see all 50 of my running back rankings, that's at Nice and Blunt on Instagram. And thank you for watching, especially if you made it to the end of this video. Thank you so much. Hit that like button and the subscribe button, and I will see you again in another video. Thanks.